Hello. Before we start today's episode, if you would like a condensed version of what I'm talking about in this podcast, go ahead and subscribe to the Perfectionist Guide. You can read the entire thing in 3 minutes or less. To access this, go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/newsletter. Are you a bit of a perfectionist, type A, hyper performer? Then you know that having the audacity to see an ideal and bring it into reality while breaking generational habits of hustle can be tough, but it doesn't have to be. If you are ready to burn bright instead of burning out, to lead without losing yourself, and to enjoy the life you have worked so hard to create, then keep listening. I'm your host, America's leader on rewiring perfectionism, CLG, and this is Perfectionism Rewired, the podcast. Welcome to Perfectionism Rewired. This is episode number 73. Overthinking. Overthinking is when you think about something so much that it moves from helpful, which is critical thinking. Critical thinking is helpful, and it moves into harmful. That's where the rumination, analysis paralysis. From a neurological perspective, when it comes to neuroplasticity, which is changing the way that our brain actually works when it responds to stimulus in our external environment. What happens when we think about something over and over and over again, or we overthink on it, we end up carving the same paths in our brain. Our brain, the drunk toddler, it believes that if we continue to think about a problem and fixate on it and get more information and think, we will come up with an answer. But that is fundamentally untrue. What actually happens when you think about something over and over and over, it just carves the same pathways in your brain that are not leading you to an answer. It's like old keys don't open new doors. When you are overthinking something, you end up digging your hole deeper that you are trying to get out of. What can actually happen is that you end up creating a trauma loop when you have experienced unhealthy and unsafe environments where there isn't a lot of connection and healthy attachment and association going on. We get stuck in our thoughts, in the thinking. This is where perfectionism comes from. This is where approval addiction comes from. This is where workaholism comes from. This is where people pleasing comes from. We get stuck in the thinking because it doesn't feel safe to be embodied, to drop into the body and to experience what it is that we might be feeling, to experience the fear, the sadness, the confusion, the rage, whatever is going on in your nervous system and this wide variety of emotions that we experience. Those of us that are intelligent, intellectual, we use our brains to push, to get things done and to push through. When we use our brains without checking in with our body, with our system, without looking at our spiritual, emotional systems, when we're not working in alignment, and when we are using our mind and our brain to strong arm our system, to strong arm ourselves, to push, to force, to efforting, we're not using our mind at optimal level to really support what our mind is best at. When we are overusing the mind, we end up damaging our psyche and our mental systems. You don't have as clear of a focus. The ideas and the inspiration don't come to you as much as they used to. You are not in the state of flow, and you are in this space of using the mind to force and pressure your life along. You are in this matrix of control over the mind. That is what we are talking about today, to exit this matrix. Think about it if you're working out in the gym. When you overexert your biceps, you end up damaging them. You want to use your full body. You want to make sure that you are sharpening all of your muscles. When it comes to achieving our goals or having any sort of forward momentum in your life, we want to make sure that we are using all the other tools that we have in our tool belt. When we use our mind and thinking, we are using a hammer. Okay. Now, hammers are amazing. They're great for nails. They're great for banging on things. Let's say you're trying to put the hinges in the door and you just start pounding in the screws with your hammer. And you're like, screwing things with my hammer is really, really difficult. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to try something else. You take your hammer and you are trying to saw your piece of wood, and it's taking forever. It's not even making a dent. You're like, it is really, really hard to saw wood with this hammer. This is exactly what you do when you use your brain for everything and overthinking. And I get it, especially where you have been rewarded your entire life for your intellect, for using your brain. I'm talking about those of you that got the Pizza Hut reading club things where you got a personal pan pizza for all the books that you read. You're trying to use your brain to solve for everything because you're like, well, my brain has helped me solve my problems and achieve my goals before and have success. So wouldn't it just make sense that I have more of this? If I spend an hour thinking about this issue, then why don't I put 2 hours? Better yet, I'll think of all the things I didn't think of in the first hour. Yeah, and I'm going to spend 2 hours on it. And 2 hours leads to 2 days, which leads to 2 months, which leads to 2 years, which leads to 2 decades. And there you get overthinking. As much as I respect your brain power and all of these amazing things that your intellect does for you. Intellect is different than intelligence. Think about it with math terms. The length of thinking about a problem is not equivalent to a better solution. The length of time thinking about a problem just equals how much longer it takes to start solving the problem. Overthinking, over and analyzing, worrying, however this shows up for you, it is not an effective, an efficient, or a healthy way for you to be using your brain. It is just like using a hammer as a saw. Overthinking is a disconnect to the part of you, the one who already knows the answers instinctually. When you overthink, you are ignoring your intuition, your inner knowing, your inner authority. If you are someone who has been praised and rewarded for your intellect, you might still be a little skeptical about your intuition and that it is smarter than your brain. Here is why it trumps your mind always and is 1,000,000,000 times more reliable. Your body cannot lie. It literally can't. Your mind, however, they make up shit all the time. They're not doing it to be deceitful. They're just toddlers. That's just what they do. So when you overthink, you are wasting a fuck ton of your time and energy. We talked about energy leaks. I'd say overthinking, top 5 for everyone who is listening to this right now. And when it comes down to it, please step into the truth booth with me. Overthinking is procrastination in a costume. It is a tactic used by your brain to avoid making a decision. Why would you want to do that? Why would your brain want to avoid making a decision? To protect you from failure. That's it. Your mind believes if you keep thinking about something, you will find the solution. And your brain wants certainty and safety. Overthinking, it's an avoidance action that you are choosing to take. So you don't have to deal with how you're going to talk to yourself when you make a mistake. But this is what your brain is forgetting. You are in charge of how you choose to interpret everything that happens. It all goes back to trust. If you are overthinking, it's because you're not trusting yourself that you're going to be able to figure shit out if the decision that you make doesn't go the way that you want it to go. You are afraid of that inner critic, how you're going to berate yourself when you make a mistake, or you're afraid of what other people's opinions are going to be, or you are afraid that you are not going to get an approval. Overthinking doesn't lead to clarity. It only leads to confusion. Here is what happens. You bring a problem to your brain and you ask it for a solution. That is not your brain's job. When you present your brain with a problem, it will find another problem, and your brain doesn't like the uncertainty. Truth is, you don't know how anything is going to turn out until you do it. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. I think 2020, 2021 was like a really, really good example of that. Nothing is certain except for death. Thinking more about it doesn't make you more certain. There's always uncertainty, and your brain will always find that. When you're spending all your time thinking about what could go wrong in the future, you are foreboding joy and you are suffering twice. Overthinking dredges up this worst case scenario over and over again. You are pathologicalizing your life. You are catastrophizing. And it is a huge waste of time and energy. Overthinking is completely inefficient. Overthinking is what dumb people do. So for all of you smarties out there that are listening who like to be successful, this is keeping you from that. Overthinking is one of the biggest time and energy vampires. If you are telling yourself, I'm a slow processor, I need to take my time and think about things. No, you are not a slow processor. You are a master overthinker. You do not need more time to process. You need to tap into your inner authority and your inner knowing. You need to shorten the amount of time between what it is that you are presented and making a decision. Overthinkers tends to be in two categories. Either you are paralyzed in indecision and you're not making a decision, or you are just taking all these fucking actions and you're still not getting the result that you want. So what I help you do as your coach is we make it so you get your time and your energy and your vitality back, and you are making decisions that every step you take, it is getting you closer and closer to the result that you want. And you are having so much more fun. I guarantee all of my private one-on-one coaching clients get at least 20 hours back in your week, every week for the rest of your life. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you're nodding your head yes, listen closely, because I might have the solution you've been searching for. My Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator, a 6-week, highly individualized one-on-one coaching experience designed exclusively for perfectionists like you. Your perfectionism is actually your greatest asset, and leveraging it can be hard work or take years of guesswork. That's why in Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator, I give you my key frameworks to taking charge of your Ferrari drive, proven to work even for the most type A, high-strung, stubborn perfectionists. In the first 30 days, you will cut your burnout in half, increase your professional fulfillment by at least 150%, and your self-compassion will go up at least 250%. And that is just your first 30 days. So if you want to save yourself years of trial and error, go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/accelerator today. Or if you want to take the easy way, just click the link in the show notes to check out the Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator. Overthinking doesn't create clarity. It makes things murkier for you. Overthinking creates confusion. When your brain looks for a problem, remember our reticular activating system? I'll put a link in the show notes. Your brain, it will go fetch. It will go find 100 more. That's confusing. Also, overthinking doesn't help you find solutions faster. It is like you think overthinking is putting you into a higher gear. No, it's putting you into a lower gear. And for those of you that know how to drive a stick shift, like moi, then you know that you rev and you use more gas and you just end up hurting your system overall. Same thing with overthinking. It doesn't help you reach your goals quicker. It slows you down, and not in a good way. It's not like slowing down to speed up like a slingshot type motion. It's like, oh no, we're slowing ourselves way the fuck down, where sometimes it stalls you. Overthinking stalls you. It makes whatever change and results you desire take longer, or it blocks them from happening altogether. How many ideas or decisions have you sat on, overthinking them to death until you don't do anything? This happens all the time. People come to me with this idea that they've been thinking about, or a decision that you've been thinking about for years. And you think that you just need more clarity. You think that you need to spend more time thinking. You need to research more. You need more information before you take action. So you haven't taken any action. And all you're doing is wasting your time and your energy and sharing your brilliant ideas with the world. Let's commit right now that you will stop wasting your incredibly smart brain power and your incredibly valuable time and energy on overthinking and instead use it for what it is great at. Use other tools. A hammer, it does not work for everything. You have so many other tools in your toolbox that you can use other than your mind and other than your intellect. If you are not getting results that you want in your life, if all you've been doing is using thinking and using your mind, it's like all you've been doing is calf muscle exercises and you're wondering why you still have a muffin top. The best part about using other tools and stopping overthinking is that everything else in your life gets easier. You aren't spending all your time and energy looking over worst case scenarios, being anxious, freaking out. You will have so much more energy to become the best version of you. This is where transformation happens. When my clients come to me, it is because they want change. They want transformation. They want to change their relationships. They want to change their body. They want to change their life. They want to change their career. They want to transform how they are relaxing into their success. And in order to transform any part of your life, you have got to unlearn the shit that is keeping you stuck in what you don't want. Step 1 is the unlearning. Step 2, rewiring. And step 3 is integrating. Those are the 3 steps of transformation. And if you want transformation in your life, you want to go through the unlearning, rewiring, and integrating process, I can absolutely help you. If you noticed in this episode that holy cannoli, holy wow, I read you like a menu, then definitely go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com. Check out the Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator. The importance of the Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator is that when it comes to all of these frameworks, if you press all the buttons at once, the system will jam, which is why you have me by your side, curating the frameworks to work with your unique flavor of perfectionism instead of against it. If you sign up in August, I give you a personalized book you get to take with you forever, ever, ever that has your own playbook. You get to be part of a wonderful community. It is a private one-on-one coaching experience, but there's also a community aspect to it. It's ADHD friendly. I looked at my best clients and their best results and some of my clients that were like 70% of the way there. And I said, what could I do to get them to 100%? And I put everything in that along with the best practices. Instead of things taking months or years, we can do them in days and weeks together. I invite you to apply to the Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator. There's a link for that in the show notes. You can also go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/accelerator